Alright, what's up everybody? This is Mark, aka Quayz, and I'm here with another park vlog. Today, I am at Six Flags Great Adventure. This park is only about an hour and 15 minutes away from me, but I have not been here in a long time. It's probably been well over a decade. So I have 6 new credits to get on today. The Jersey Devil coaster is definitely on the top of my list, but also Kingda. I've been here plenty of times since Kingda has been put in, but I've never been on it. Maybe after I get off of it, I'll talk a little bit about why I've never gotten that credit. But just went through security. Now we're going to get in line to go through the front gate, and we're going to get into the park. All right, I am in the park. I had a little bit of a snafu with my pass. So technically, I have a diamond pass, which gets you entrance into all the Six Flags parks. But I bought it through Six Flags New England because it was cheaper than Great Adventure. Well, when I tried to go and enter the park, it wasn't working, and they said it's because you have to go to your home park first to activate it before you can go to the other parks. So they had to call a supervisor over, and then they were able to let me in, but it's a little bit weird that they make you do that. The Cedar Fair passes for Dorney Park and Cedar Point and all that stuff, once they give you the digital pass and you load it into the app, you can go to any of the parks. You don't have to go to your home park first. So now that the two companies have merged, I'm hoping that that's something that gets streamlined a little bit better, because if you pay for the pass, you should be able to go to whatever park you want to regardless of what order you go to. There's my little rant. Now I think I'm going to try to make my way over to the Jersey Devil coaster and get that credit, maybe hit Nitro and Batman as well. So let's head on over. Okay, I'm over here at the Flash Vertical Velocity, and it looks like they are making quite a bit of progress on this ride. They haven't said when it's going to open yet, but hopefully that is really soon. Here we have the giant wheel. I know that this was closed for a little while, I guess, for refurbishment, but it looks like they have all the cars back on it, and there's some workers out here ready to look like test it or get it going, but we'll take a look later on. So I just got my first ride on the Jersey Devil coaster, and I have to say, I'm actually kind of disappointed. It was really uncomfortable because of the way that you straddle the car. It's a single file line. It was really uncomfortable on my hips. And at one point, it kind of almost felt like my hip was going to pop out, so I wasn't able to fully enjoy the ride. So I don't know, I'm going to try to get another ride on it. I was in the back row. Maybe if I can get on a little bit further up in the train, it might be a little bit more comfortable, but we'll see. But first impressions, the elements are really cool, but the discomfort kind of distracts you from taking in those elements. My way to the Movie Town part of the park and just got a ride on Batman the Ride. So that ride is just as I remember it, very forceful, super tight elements, one right after the other, so it's good in that respect. But one thing I didn't remember about it, and maybe it's changed, is the rattle that you experience on that thing. It is getting really rough. Still a great ride, but maybe at some point, if they're going to keep that ride here, they need to do something to smooth it out. I don't know if that means retracking it or maybe putting the vest restraints on it, but got a ride on that. It is super hot here today at Six Flags Great Adventure. It's going to be about 100 degrees today. So I took a break, went inside one of the gift shops here in Movie Town and looked at some of the stuff that they had in there. Everything was themed to the DC superheroes. There was some really cool Joker themed stuff in there. And then I got a ride for the first time ever on the Dark Knight coaster, which is an indoor coaster, and I believe it's in the spot where Batman and Robin the Chiller was. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, but I believe it's in that same spot. But it's an indoor wild mouse ride, also very rough. That's a theme that I'm noticing today at Six Flags. But not as good as something like Laugh Track at Hershey Park, but there was a couple cool little fake out moments. I really just kind of went on it to get the credit and to get inside where there was some air conditioning for a while. Now I think it's time to get a couple rides on Nitro because that's one of my favorite B&M hyper coasters. All right, that was 2 rides on Nitro, one in the second row and one in the back row, and that is an excellent, excellent B&M hypercoaster. Great airtime, great forces. That helix that you go around towards the end of the ride, I grayed out on that like crazy. Awesome, awesome ride. I might have to hop on it again at some point, but I'm gonna get on some other stuff first. I'm making my way over to Harley Quinn and Joker. Both of these are new credits for me, so I'm going to try to get on whatever I can get on. It doesn't look like Joker is running, but Harley Quinn is, so I'm going to get on that. Just got a ride on Harley Quinn's Crazy Train, and that is very similar to Catwoman's Whip at Six Flags New England. It might even be the same ride, but that's a fun little family coaster. It's got a really long layout, and I don't know if they're just doing this today, but they let us go around twice. So very smooth, great little introduction for coasters for kids. But Joker's running now, so I'm going to get on that. Alright, I just got off the Joker, which is my second ever SNS free spin. I've only also ever been on Toonbilly. This is way more intense. I flipped like 1,000,000 times on this, whereas on Toonbilly I only flipped like once or twice. These full-size ones seem a little bit crazier because Toonbilly's like the smaller stature SNS free spin. Kind of fun, kind of terrifying. I think one ride for today is good enough for me. So I'm walking along the lake over here, and I'm gonna make my way to Medusa, I think, next. I'd like to get a ride on Medusa, and I'd like to really get a couple of rides on El Toro. From what I've been hearing, Kingda is not running today. That ride just doesn't want me to get that credit, but we'll see. It could just be because it's literally 100 degrees outside today. It is so hot. So Medusa, El Toro, and then probably something to eat. Alright, I'm about to make my way through the Golden Kingdom. This is the area that they put into the park when they introduced Kingda. So I'm going to make my way down here through the Golden Kingdom. I think I'm actually going to hit El Toro before I go to Medusa. So let's hit that first since we're right here. Ooh, and I just saw Kingda cycle. I might be able to get that credit after all. Okay, I just got off El Toro, and man, it has been a while since I have been on El Toro, but that ride is insane. That might be the craziest ejector airtime I've ever experienced in my life. It's definitely riding rougher than I remember it. I feel like when I rode this, the ride was brand new and it was much smoother, so it was much more enjoyable. So yeah, El Toro is going to be a 1 ride per visit ride for me, even though it's a great ride. Also, the positive forces at the bottom of those first couple of airtime hills, insane. Okay, I'm making my way over to Kingda. That might be my last ride of the day. It has been brutally hot today, so normally I like to get some re-rides and stuff on many rides, but today it's for the most part been one and done for everything. I just got my first ever ride on Kingda, and I will say, Top Thrill Dragster was better. Top Thrill Dragster was smoother, and one thing I think I really noticed is that the launch on Top Thrill Dragster seemed a little bit more consistent. So what I mean is that once you started accelerating, that rate of acceleration on Top Thrill Dragster seemed pretty consistent all the way through. With Kingda, there's definitely the initial acceleration and then a burst of acceleration. So I think I like the launch from Top Thrill Dragster better. Also, Kingda's way rougher, way rougher. So yeah, overall, Top Thrill Dragster's better. I also like that Top Thrill Dragster has just the lap bar, but I will say that kind of acceleration on a roller coaster, you can't really beat it. You know, with Top Thrill Dragster now being Top Thrill 2, and they completely changed out the launch, so it no longer has the hydraulic launch like this. At least now the two rides are a little bit different from each other, which is good because now I need to get back to Cedar Point and get on Top Thrill 2. Right now I'm making my way to the plot of land where the Great American Scream Machine once stood, and now that's where Green Lantern is. So I think I'm going to try to get a ride on that as long as it's running, and then that will most likely be my final ride of the day. So I just got my first ever ride on Green Lantern here at Great Adventure, and actually it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was a little bit smoother, although there was some head banging. But I'll tell you what, that first drop is pretty good, and there's some decent forces on this. Green Lantern is essentially a clone of Mantis at Cedar Point, or what's now Rougarou at Cedar Point, but back when it was Mantis and it was a stand-up coaster, I was able to go on it back then. One thing I will say is that a lot of parks are taking these old B&M stand-up coasters and they are converting them to B&M floorless coasters. But Great Adventure already has a floorless coaster. So it's clear that this ride's not very popular. There was nobody in line for this. So I almost wonder if Six Flags would at some point put the new B&M stand-up trains on this ride, like what's on Pipeline at SeaWorld in Orlando. Because everything that I've heard about those new trains is that they're so much more comfortable. But I know that that ride's not as intense as this ride, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But that's going to be my last ride for today. There's a couple things I did not get on. I didn't go on Skull Mountain, I didn't go on the Runaway Train, and then I also did not go on Superman or the I think it's like the Junior Devil coaster or something like that. So the only coaster at this park that I still have to ride is that Junior Devil coaster. I have been on the other ones a little bit, so I didn't feel the need to rush and get on those. But it was a long day today, so I'm going to call it a day. It was a great day here at Six Flags, but until next time, keep on coasting.